Hey everybody, we are back for another episode, and this time we are back on the Suburban. Just kind of wrapping up some things on this to turn it into a good usable shop truck until we get around to turning it into a project. So I've already been working on it this morning. Let's take a look at what we got.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Okay, so if you notice, my other truck is not sitting here. I sold it this morning. A guy in Virginia bought it. Came down and picked it up, seemed very happy with it. I was happy to make the sale and move on to the next project. So, Chris, hope you like the truck and keep me posted on what you do with it. He's got some ideas. He's going to take it a little further and do some other things with it. So, this morning, I thought I was filming and I wasn't, so my apologies. But the first thing I wanted to deal with this thing was that dragon starter that sometimes drug and sometimes didn't even crank. So anyway, I went to pull the starter off and it actually had a reman starter on it. The problem was the same thing I am running into with many other areas on this truck. Bad wiring. It's just take a look at that. That got hot. I can't believe that didn't burn up and blow that fusible link. But this is the hot feed to the power distribution block up on the firewall from the starter. This was junk. The cable coming from the battery down to the starter, it was junk. It just gotten so hot and burned the end of it off. And the wire coming from the starter switch down to the starter, it was junk. Everything was loose. Everything was melted. So I found the starter wire first and I repaired that. Put a new length of wire on it, soldered it on there, put a new clip on it. And then when I was putting it back together, I found this. So that's a problem. Hang on just a second. So there's two wires. So this is one terminal block, but it splits into two wires. And then this fusible link split into two more wires. So you actually had three power feeds coming from that starter hot terminal up to the power distribution block. Now I cut them and I got them out of there's that tube that goes down the back of your engine. I could not get other wires fished down through that thing. It's just, there's so many wires in that thing. So we're gonna have to make a permanent fix for that once we get to pulling the engine on this, and we're gonna have to redo this engine compartment harness. Most of it is okay, but we're gonna have to do some fixing on it and make it right. So what I did in the meantime is I just took another battery cable here, tied it onto the hot, went down there. I know wire nuts are not for cars, but I'm kind of at a limited amount of what I could do here with what I had. So I got a great big wire nut, bundled that all together, tightened that thing up as tight as I could get it, and taped it. So I'm feeding directly from the battery to that fuse block. That is temporary. So and then the starter that was on there, like I said, it was a reman. It almost looked like a new starter, but all the terminals were burned up on it. So I pulled another. I had 2 or 3 Chevy small block starters laying around here. I just tested another one, threw it on there. But now, no issues. So, we did that, and then I also had to do a little more finagling with my TV cable to get it right, so we got it right. I did change the oil on this yesterday, and it was nasty. It had a lot of gas in it from that old Quadrajet, so we got fresh oil in it. So I have a couple of things coming. I've got a fan shroud on the way that should be here tomorrow. The fuel tank is here. I'm waiting on the fuel sending unit. That should be here tomorrow. And what else do we got here? I got something here. Oh, these are the replacement rollers for the tailgate window regulator. We're gonna fix that. So a couple things to fix here. We want to get the fuel tank back on. I want to set the timing and adjust the carburetor, get a fan shroud on it, and get the what did I just say? Oh, get the tailgate working right, the tailgate window. Once all that's done, that's pretty much it for this stage of the build. It's just going to be a good usable shop truck while I finish up the wagon and while I work on this. I've got an El Camino coming from a buddy that probably in about a month or so that we're going to be doing some metal work on. So we'll be doing some videos on that too. Very cool car, 1970 El Camino, original owner. We're going to be working on that thing, so very cool. All right, so let's stop here for today. It's my son's birthday. We're going to go to his birthday party, and then hopefully these other parts will be here in the morning, and we will knock out this other stuff. Morning, everybody. So yesterday we got the starter issue fixed with this thing and kind of temporarily fixed some of this wiring that we're going to have to address when we actually pull the drivetrain out of this thing and go about doing all the body work on it. I got on eBay last night and I was just shocked. I thought, I wonder what if somebody makes a complete underhood wiring harness for this thing, just a plug and play. I didn't see one, but maybe somebody makes one, I don't know. But there were all kinds of used underhood wiring harnesses for these square bodies, and the prices were just crazy, like a couple $100 for a used 30-year-old wiring harness. And it's like, I'm not paying that, you know. So it's not all chopped up and hacked up for the most part, you know. So we're probably just going to end up doing a rehab of it. I mean, if you mess with these wires, they're not all stiff and cracking when you move them. They've still got some pliability to them. So we'll probably be, that's one of the things we'll do when we make this a project. We'll just pull that wiring harness out. We'll clean all that bad stuff up, you know, maybe put some new ends and stuff on it. So a little different restoring a 70s model car than a lot of these older 40s and 50s I do, where you just gotta throw it all away and start over because it's in such bad shape. But anyway, so I got my relay for my fan came in, and I put this on, and very happy to say all of the heater functions work now. The fan works, the sliders work, the heater core is good. You saw we fixed a little wiring and vacuum issues in there, so that's all good. So I have a functioning heater, which I'm very happy about. Now this had rear air conditioning on it, which we're going to eliminate when we do the project. So at some point we're going to gut all these hoses out. But anyway, we did that. A little more work on the Q-Jet. The little stud I had for the 700R4 cable was I didn't have the right nut for the back of it, so I tried to drill a hole in it and just put a cotter pin in it, and it had too much play in it. So I went and found the right nut, and we got that straightened out. So that's all in good shape. It's running pretty good. I do want to time it, and I do want to put a vacuum gauge on that Q-Jet and do some adjustment on it, but I am not going to do that right this second because it is early in the morning and I would have to open the garage door to run this thing while I'm doing it, and our bedroom is 20 feet on the other side of that garage door, and my wife is still sleeping, and she would kill me if I if I woke her up starting this thing up right outside our bedroom window. So we're not going to do that. I want to look at the fuel tank this morning. I don't have the sending unit yet. I do have the tank, but up above the tank, on the underside of the floor where it goes, there was a lot of surface rust under there. So let's see if let's take a look at that, and I want to see what we can do about cleaning that up and putting some rust inhibitor on it before I put the tank back in there, because I would really like to only do this tank once. So and then we're gonna have to see what we got to do about the fuel hoses, because they had made some alterations when they put that TBI tank in there, and they've got the threaded hose, the threaded fuel line fittings, and on the earlier sending units, you just got the push on and clamp fittings. So we got to figure that out. All right, let's take a look under there and see what it looks like. All right, so you can kind of see what we got under here. A lot of just flaky rust. Nothing that goes through, I don't believe. No, it's just flaky stuff. And then up here in the frame rails, there's just a lot of dirt. So we're looking at this, where are we at here? So here's the strap. So this square in here, I just want to get cleaned up. And on the inside of the frame rails here too, where the tank is going to sit, and I'm not going to be able to get to, I just want to clean up and spray some rust inhibitor in there, so that I don't have to come back and mess with that again when we go to do this truck, because I am not going to pull the body off the frame to do this truck, because I don't have the facilities to do. I don't have any way to pull a Suburban body off the frame. I don't have a lift or anything, so this is we're not going to get that crazy with it. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to get out my shop vac, vacuum out these frame rails, and then just take a hand wire brush, and we're going to knock everything loose under here. Respirator and gloves, so we're not breathing that crap or getting it in our eyes. So let's do that, and I'll show you what I'm going to spray in there. If you watched the video on my wagon, I just did a bunch of this. Just taking this stuff, putting it in a spray bottle, and just going to town, just saturating everything. And that kind of turns it to like a opaque, semi-black looking surface that will greatly reduce that, slow that rust down or stop it. So that's the way we're going to go on it. I don't know if I can film that while it's happening or not, but yeah, let me just go ahead and clean all that up, vacuum them frame rails out, and then we'll take a look at what it looks like, and then we'll spray some of this stuff. Okay, so I wire brushed everywhere that tank is going to sit, and sprayed a bunch of that stuff up in there. Just soaked her down real good. We vacuumed out the frame rails, got the dirt out of there. I got it all up in there. So I'm just going to kind of let that drip for a little bit and drip out. And then I need to figure out these fuel lines. But yeah, when you use that stuff, use a respirator. You don't want to breathe it. Use goggles. You definitely don't want it in your eyes. And use gloves because it kind of burns your hands. So I don't know what the heck chemical wise what it is, but I know it works good. Anyway, I've used this stuff before, made in USA, and it works pretty good, so that's what we went with. Okay, so let me let that drip a little bit, and then I think I'm going to dig up my timing light and see if I can find the timing mark on this thing, and dig up my vacuum gauge and see if we can set this quadrajet and get this thing running even better, even though it's running pretty decent compared to what it was. So, all right, back in a bit. All right, so the timing tab on this thing is it's really in a bad spot. You have to go straight down by the timing cover behind the water pump, and you can see it down there. So that is tough to get to. So obviously I'm not gonna be able to show that on camera. And I gotta be careful in here. I don't have a shroud. I don't want to like lop my fingers off. So according to what I looked up, a carbureted 79 350 should be set at 8 degrees before top dead center. So all right, let me fire this thing up and see if we can get that. I've got the vacuum advance unhooked. I'm not going to worry about total timing. The springs in there are good, whatever springs they are on there. I want to get the initial timing right. And we'll do that, adjust carb, and we'll see how this thing runs. It really sounds good now. Watch the fan. My piece of junk timing light ain't gonna work. Oh my. Stupid thing. All right, well, this ain't gonna work. I guess it's been dropped one too many times. Get a new one of those. So we'll drag. Let me find my vacuum gauge. Let's see if we can at least get the carburetor. Pipes outside. Back in just a minute. Alright, so that's the way I've always adjusted them. I don't know if it's 100% right or not, but I got my vacuum gauge on there. You can see we got about 18 inches of vacuum. So I need a smaller screwdriver. This thing definitely got some exhaust leaks on it. much of a difference there. I usually run the screw all the way in, make sure it's bottomed out, bring it back a turn and a half, and then adjust for the highest vacuum setting I can get. But I'm not getting much of a difference. I'm wondering if there's a vacuum leak on this thing somewhere. All the way in. One, a half, one, a half. Yeah, jumped up just a little bit. Seems like though it's not very responsive on the there's a good vacuum there. Okay. It's not making much of a difference on the adjustment on that thing. It seems like it's running okay. Okay, we'll call that a fail and another fail, but it's running okay. So, get back in this thing. All right. Spray some stuff around here and see if we get any change. Won't adjust. But it's got vacuum and it seems to be running decent, so that's all I'm worried about right now. If we need to revisit it later, we will. Alright, we'll shut it off, pull back in, and we'll see what we're going to do next. Alright, so I don't know. I'm not picking up any vacuum leaks around the intake or anything with spray. I can't get to the back of the intake. Could be there. Could be that El Cheapo carburetor, but man, I mean, it fires right up. Runs pretty good. Nothing wrong with that. I'm holding 18 inches of vacuum. We got heat. That's awesome. And it the exhaust doesn't smell real raw like it's overly rich. So I guess we'll just leave well enough alone and leave it like it is for now. Like I said, this is a temporary drivetrain, so as long as it starts, runs, dries, gets me where I'm going, and doesn't blow up before I'm ready to pull it out of there, I guess we'll just live with it. Okay, let me, you hear that? Something's going gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Who knows? All right. It's good. I bless thee. So I'm gonna pull this thing back up in the garage, and I think I'm gonna work a little bit on the um, window regulator for the tailgate. So let's see if we can get those rollers changed on that. And I don't have the cables for the tailgate yet, but we could go ahead and put the regulator in there and get the window going up and down, and then work on the regulator part, or put the tailgate cables on when they come. So why don't we do that, since we don't have anything else constructive we can do on it right now. So I'll throw the I'll get this pulled back up in the garage, and we'll take a look at that part. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to change these little rollers on this rear window regulator. I have never done this before, but it looks pretty self-explanatory, so we're just going to give it a shot. Let me adjust my camera so you can see all the wonderful things in the picture, including my smiling face. Okay. And also, I saw President Carter died yesterday. I was not a big supporter of him as a president, but he was a very wonderful man, very philanthropic, did some awesome things. He was a nuclear engineer with the Navy, which I thought was pretty interesting. A lot of people don't give him the credit for how brilliant and intelligent he really was. Like I said, I wasn't much on his presidency or his political policies, but as far as just a good man, a good godly man, did many things for the community. Couldn't ask for a better guy. So blessings to him and his family, and thank him for his service to our country. So anyway, so they give you these little plastic rollers with these rivets, and you are supposed to put this through the hole and smash it without breaking the little plastic roller. So we'll see how this goes. I got an idea how to do it. First thing we need to do is cut these old rollers off, so let's do that. Vice grips here. And I just got a notification that my fuel sending unit, my fan shroud, and something else I'm waiting on that I can't remember for the truck are showing up today in the mail. So that's good. Guess we don't have enough ground off of that. Oh, the other part that's showing up is the wagon, so my radiator hose splice. And that goes in there. Oh, no. There. There's one. Spot of dirt off there. Let me just see how that new rivet fits through there. Oh, yeah. Good deal. All right, let's cut this other one. I've had some people ask me on this project, why did you start with such a rough truck? Why didn't you just look for one a little better body that you could have done less body work on, maybe found a 90s one, or that had better quarters and better rockers, and then you could have just put the 76 or early front end on it. And you're gonna pay one way or another. These old square body trucks, they rust, especially in this part of Missouri. I have not seen any that don't. And yeah, I probably could have got a better one, but you know what, this is the one I got, and I enjoy doing the metal work. So, and I think it makes for decent content. So, it's ugly now. We're gonna bring it back, and it's gonna look good when we're done. This is not going to be a big high dollar concourse restoration. This is going to be redo the sheet metal, conquer the rust, nice single stage repaint, probably with paint from a single stage urethane from TPC Global. We'll redo the interior, make it a nice driver quality, fix all the dash cracks and all that. We'll put new weather stripping in it. You saw the engine change we're gonna do. Probably, rebuild this front suspension and all that, clean up the front of the frame and paint it. So not a body off restoration that's going to be six figures, but it's going to be a nice driver truck when I'm done. I'm going to take care of and keep garage. So I don't know if we're going to track the price on everything or not, but that's kind of where we're going with it. This is what the working guy can probably afford. Put that down while it's still spinning. It takes off on you. There we go. All right. So do a little cleanup here. Get rid of some of that dirt. Start the body work on this thing. We're going to start in the back. We're going to strip the tailgate, change it, have it, get it in primer, get it on there, and fix any rust around that opening back there. And then we're going to go to one quarter panel, the other quarter panel, and just work our way forward. So, but that's a ways down the road. Good enough. All right, now can we put these in without destroying this little plastic roller? Here's what I'm gonna try. Here, I got a little 3/8 by 1/4 inch adapter that will sit on the rivet without the rivet head, without hurting the plastic, without touching the plastic. And we're just going to try to smash that, and hopefully the little roller doesn't go flying in pieces everywhere. That worked. find one to go. Yes, I did put those on the right side. That would be a disaster, and it would be something I would absolutely do, put the rollers on the wrong side. If it's a little loose. Sure on there. Still a little loose. I could put a tiny spot of weld on there. Just a tiny one. Is this one loose? No, that one tightened up pretty good. No, I don't want to do that. Sure on the rivet. It's still a little loose. I'm gonna keep beating on it. Still a little loose. All right. I'm gonna do it. Please, Lord, don't let me regret this. Number 2, so we're not like blazing hot. Definitely don't want to melt that roller. Just that much. Might as well do it over here too. That'll hold it. Oh yeah. Just put a little kiss of molten metal on there. Okay, let me I'm gonna have to crawl on the back of this thing, get this tailgate open, get the window down, and I need to find the tracks for this thing, find the bolts for it. We'll get this installed and see if it works. Okay, so here are my little tracks, and as you can see, these are rusted up pretty good. So we're gonna have to wire brush these out and clean them. And then the little roller slides right in this guy. We're gonna put a little grease in there, make sure that slides nice. But if you look at this window, bottom window track that the glass slides into is not in good shape. It's pretty rusty. It'll work for now for this, because on the other tailgate I've got another window over there that's got a decent track on it. And what we're going to do with this one, when we put this in, it's got some heavy surface rust, but it's not through anywhere. We're going to knock this track off of here, and we are going to clean that thing and de-rust it before we put it in there. And this is a nice tailgate. Looking forward to having that one on there. All right, let me get these cleaned up. I'm trying to find some bolts for them. I don't think there's any bolts in here for it. Nope, I don't see any laying down in there. All right, I'm sure all the junk around here, I got some bolts that'll work in there. So we'll get some bolts in there. We'll get this thing bolted on and we'll give it a shot. Okay, so we've got the I got the regulator in there, just got some bolts started. I found some bolts for to fit these tracks. We got those cleaned up. I got a little grease we're gonna put in there in these. And let me put this on quick speed and we'll put this all together and we'll see, does it work? Fingers crossed. Okay, now, does it work? Ah, and smooth. There, I don't want to pull out of that track. All right, fix. So we'll put the tailgate inner panel back on that. We'll call this part done. And my fuel tank stuff is not here yet. We'll pick it back up when we do that. And then we'll do the shroud when it gets here, probably tomorrow, and then do the tailgate cables, and then I think we're ready for a test drive, and we're going to do a test drive on this video. Okay, that's it. Back in a bit. All right, morning everybody. So we're going to try to wrap the last couple of things up on this today. So I've got the parts for the fuel tank came in. We've got those installed. I've got the fan shroud came in. We need to get that installed. Get the tank in here. Might check the rear end grease while I'm under there putting the tank in. And then I think we're ready for a test drive. I mean, it's just about what I would call shop truck roadworthy. So let's take a look. Okay, so tank is here. We got all the stuff on it. All our little wiring pigtails and stuff are on there, and it's ready to slide up in there. Got some hoses run on it, so we can pull those back and tie those into the fuel lines. So we're going to do that. And fan shroud came in. So you need that size box for this size fan shroud. It's about twice the size of it, but hang on, man, this was a good deal, like $35 for this thing, brand new, and it's pretty heavy duty. It's not like a little flimsy, floppy, lightweight piece. So I want to get that on there just to make sure that this thing, cooling fan, works okay. And get our fuel system the rest of the way hooked up. And then I think we're ready for the road. One thing I noticed is this wiper motor is really weak. I mean, you put it on high and it just kind of creeps. So I don't know if it just needs run, if it just hasn't been used in a long time. I don't see anything on the plugs that looks like anything's burned up or like everything else on here. But wiring connections all look good. This might be an old wiper motor, so we'll see if it comes back to life on its own, if we're going to change that. And then I got some wiper blades coming. But all right, so let me get set up and we'll get this tank under there first. Get the hardest part done first, and we'll get that in there, and then get these hoses hooked up and see if we can fire this thing up and get it pulling gas on its own. And hopefully have a working fuel gauge. All right, so that rust treatment worked pretty good. It's kind of got a glaze on it under there. So all that above the tank is in good shape, and then I got inside the frame rails, so I don't think we'll have to do any more with that. Hoping when we tear this thing down, I can just leave the tank in it. But we'll see. All the other tear down we're gonna do, if we gotta take the tank back out, it's not that big a deal. Okay, so there's the tank. I was gonna try to film this thing going in, but I don't have a camera stand that short out here. It's somewhere in the house, so let me get her up in here, get everything connected, and we will take another peek at it. All right, so we got the tank in. All the hoses hooked up, all the wiring hooked up. I think this is a little bigger tank because I had to use some long bolts there in the back to lengthen those straps. So on these Suburbans, from what I've read, you got a 26 gallon, a 31 gallon, or a 40 gallon. So I'm thinking this was a 26 because it did look just like a little bit shorter. But that is done. I need to dump fuel in it yet. I went ahead and got the fuel pump line hooked up here. We should be in good shape there. So I got this fan shroud. I did some measuring and it looks like it's going to fit. I have to do some zip ties or something. I don't know. I don't think this is the right radiator for this truck, because if you look, they self-tapered this thing to this, and it's kind of forced out, and it's almost like it's a little bit too tall. So I'm wondering if this, and you can see that was spliced. I wonder if this is yet another piece of the whatever parts truck they used to put this thing together. So, but we'll remedy that when we get around to it. In fact, I've got a brand new big block G20 van radiator sitting over there that may fit in here, so we'll see. But for now, we're good on this. Except I think I got a little leak. I better try to tighten that clamp up. Actually, looks like they got too big of a clamp on it, and that's why it's leaking. All right, so let me see if I can get this fan shroud in here. Let me fix that clamp first. We'll see if we can get this fan shroud in here, and then dump some gas in it, and we'll see if we've got a working gas gauge. All right, back in a few. Okay, so we are done. I went ahead and pulled the plug on the rear end to check the differential grease while I was under there, and surprisingly, it was full and not too horrible looking, so that was good. Went ahead and changed that little piece of hose on the transmission cooling line. That hose was dry rotted and falling apart, and then I can't understand why that clamp wouldn't seal. Use the right size clamps. Okay. Now, let's see, do we have a working fuel gauge? And is this thing gonna pull fuel from the tank? Fingers crossed. All right. Fuel gauge first. Hey, that looks good. I dumped about, what did I dump? I guess I dumped about 6 gallons of fuel in there. So, definitely gonna have to put some more in there. Let's see what we got. Oops. Might take a minute to pull from the tank. Hopefully by the time the carburetor bowl empties, it'll pull. I think we're good. Right on. Excellent. Oh yeah. I like it. Okay, we are going to take a little road trip. I need to go get my propane tank for this filled, so good a road trip as any. We'll just throw that thing in the back and take it up there and get it filled. So you guys saw the deal on the timing yesterday, and you know, my timing light not working, so we're going old school on it. I put it to where it ran good, and as long as it doesn't spark knock or drag, the starter doesn't drag when the motor's hot, then it's right where it needs to be. So we're going that route. As far as those air fuel adjustments not adjusting, like I said, I don't know if that's carburetor, or I don't know if that's, it could very well be a intake vacuum leak, although I had 18 inches of vacuum, so it's running good. I'm not too worried about that at this point. All right, well, I got about I guess an hour before the place opens up there, so let me clean up a little bit and get this tank in the back, and then we're gonna take a little cruise. All right, I thought I had one of those cell phone camera stand things that fit in the car, but I guess I don't. So, whew, my face is dirty. So let's take a ride and see how she does. Oops. Good for all of 300 feet. I guess we'll stop and put some more fuel in this thing. I wouldn't say it runs like new truck great, but old beat up truck great. We'll call it that. Runs pretty decent. When I drove this thing home, it was popping and sputtering and spitting and making all kinds of noise and no power. And plus it was loud as heck with one side of the exhaust off. So it is a 110% better. And we got a heater, which is awesome, because I about froze to death driving this thing home. If these wipers will do anything. And come on, babies. come back to life. There you go. Just need to get that old cold grease in there moving around. Of course, my wiper blades are horrible, so. Alright, enough of that. Ooh, and the park works on them too. Alright, let's get some gas and then we'll get her on the highway. Alright, so stop, put gas in it. We are full. Gas gauge is working, so it looks like I've got the 31-gallon tank is what I've got on this thing. But it's running good, it's shifting good. I'm getting all 4 gears, so that TV cable, putting that bracket on that thing made a heck of a difference. A lot of wind noise on this door. We're gonna run up here to the propane store, get this tank filled, and then head back home. But it's downshifts. I have no idea what the temperature of the oil pressure is. I've just got idiot lights, so they're not lit up. I'm assuming we're good. All right, we'll check back in a few here. All right, so we made it there and almost back, and man, what can you say? Ride's good, drive's good, keeps you warm, shifting right. Pretty comfy, even though it's an old dirty interior. So I'm going to call its first voyage as a working shop truck a success, or at least it will be in about 5 more miles. So let's go ahead and get her home. I'll get my propane unloaded, get my furnace hooked back up, and then I think that's going to be it for this video. And we will get a word from the Lord, and we'll call it on this one. So we're going to say phase 1 is complete, and phase 2 is several months away, but it's going to be good when we start it. All right, back in a minute. Everybody, thanks for coming along on the video today. So we're calling phase 1 of the Suburban finished. It is a usable working vehicle. There's a couple of things I'm going to do to it. I've got some tailgate cables coming. I want to put those on there so it's just not flopping when you put it down. And what else was there? Oh, wiper blades coming. So we don't need to film that. This is probably all you're going to see on the Suburban for a while. I'm thinking early summer we're going to actually start on the thing and start doing the body work on it, and I'll kind of figure out the plan for phase 2. Right now in my head I'm kind of thinking start at the back, you know, with the tailgate and the surrounding metal there, and do the quarters and then work my way forward. But that could change. We'll figure all that out. So a couple of things. I make all my videos on my phone, so I can't or I don't know how to put like screenshots of stuff in the video. So I did find some pictures that I wanted to share. So this is Dad and me and my nephew, and behind it you can see Pop Suburban. So I've only got a couple of pictures of it. I don't know, my mom had so many pictures, and when she passed, I don't know what happened to them all. They're probably in a box in one of my sister's basement or something, or my brother, but anyway, we've got this picture. So that's Dad. That's just probably, I look like I'm about, I don't know, 14 or 15 there. So this is probably around 82, if I had to guess, 82, 83. Okay. This one is a little bit later. Now I was 19 in this picture, so that car is mine. That's a 52 Chevy 2-door coupe that I bought from a junkyard for $150 and got it running and driving. And I actually drove that while I was going to HVAC school for college. But in the background you can see Pop Suburban back there, and he had his little what wheels he have on that thing, hubcaps. He had They look like early Chevy Impala hubcaps, like early 70s or something like that. Dad loved to change hubcaps on that thing all the time. And I'd have cars coming and going. He'd like, hey, I like them hubcaps, so throw them on my truck. I was talking to my wife last night, actually, too, because I had a Pontiac Granville, a 72, that had the regular 3-spoke Pontiac steering wheel. And he just thought that was awesome, that 3-spoke steering wheel. So I took it off and I put a little, little Grant 500 custom wheel on that car. And he's like, can I have that steering wheel? Would you put that steering wheel on my truck? So that steering wheel is on that Suburban for the rest of its life. And I think I didn't think it was that great, but I think we're going to get some type of Pontiac 3-spoke steering wheel to put on this truck. Anyway, here's another picture. I actually took a copy of this one. So here's the truck. This is later. You can see how bad it's rusted around the wheel wells back there. I'm not sure exactly what year. That Cadillac belonged to my brother-in-law that passed away. So I'm thinking this is, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s. Dad passed in 92. And the truck was scrapped that year, so somewhere around there. And here he had chrome mirrors on it. When we bought this truck, when he bought this truck, it had white mirrors, white wheels, white bumpers. Came from the dealership that way. Now I found this picture online, and this is like the closest representation I have seen of Pop's truck. It looked exactly like that, other than the faded paint on the hood, when he got it home from the dealership. I mean, no wheel trim, no rain gutter trim, no windshield trim. I mean, this thing was as Spartan as you could get. Full rubber floor mats all the way to the back, 2 bucket seats in the front, no back seat, no second seat, no third seat, no air conditioning, no power steering. The guy that bought this truck new worked at the local newspaper or owned the local newspaper or something, and he bought this for a delivery truck new in 76 and got like the most stripped model he could get, and it had 50,000 miles on it when he traded it into the Dodge dealer, and that's where my dad got it in 78, late 78. So anyway, those are just the few pictures I have to kind of remember it by, and what I'm going to be going for. And a couple good pictures of Pop. So I'm going to talk more about him as we do this project. And, Dad's his military history and his work history, and just kind of part of the project is kind of revisit my dad for myself and to let other people know about him. So anyway, as far as the message today is New Year's Eve, and this is the season for New Year's resolutions, and most people are going to have them. You're either going to lose weight, or you're going to exercise more, or you're going to spend less time working. All the stuff, all the ones that we all do. What I want to encourage everybody is, and I was talking to one of my boys the other night, was just having some struggles going on. He's got some big financial decisions coming up in his life and a couple other things, and it was his birthday. He just turned 32. Happy birthday, Jordan. And I was telling him that it was about 15 years ago. I was at my wife invited me to this, our church held this couples retreat, and she was like, hey, let's go to this thing. So I was like, yeah, whatever. So I went to it. And they talked to us together, and then the men separated into one group, the women separated into the other group. And the guy that was talking to the men started talking about how important it was to spend daily time with the Lord in Scripture and in prayer time. And I know I've talked about this a bunch on the channel, but up until that time, I wasn't an avid Scripture reader. I would kind of pray when I needed something, but definitely a believer, definitely saved, but just kind of a not growing Christian. So he just encouraged 10 minutes every morning. Spend the time with the Lord. Read some kind of scripture. Make sure you pray. And when you pray, start with thanking God for all the blessings He has given you, and then pray for obedience in your own life, and then pray for petitions for other people, and then finally put yourself last and pray last for yourself for things you may need, and kind of keep those needs and wants separated in your head. So but anyway, I started doing that 15 years ago, and it has changed my relationship with the Lord in more ways I can't even tell you. Just having that daily scripture reading, and that's about what I do, about 10 minutes a day, but some kind of scripture reading every day. And men, we need that so much. One, for our relationship with the Lord, to know who He is, to know what He wants of us, and just to grow that relationship. Think about your relationship with your wife. I've been married 20 years. Can you imagine if you got married and said, "All right, honey, now that we're married, I will see you for probably an hour on Sundays. I'll come around for an hour or so, and unless I got something else going on, then we'll make it the next week." And that all that time you like never talked to her, never learned anything about her. Imagine 20 years into marriage and you wouldn't know what her favorite color is, or her favorite food is, or her favorite restaurant is, or the movie she likes, or the music she likes. Of course you wouldn't do that. I tried to invest time in my relationship with my wife to know those things and to know who she is, and that makes our relationship so much better, and it actually makes it a relationship. Well, it's the same with our relationship with the Lord. We have to invest time, and the way we invest time in our relationship with Him is we either pull out this, because this is His word to us, or we pull out in modern day a Bible app and read it that way. Either way, I just want to encourage you, everybody out there, especially men, to make that your New Year's resolution this year, that you are going to spend 10 minutes a day with the Lord. If you get up at 5:30 for work every morning, set your alarm for 5:15. Get up, spend that time with Him, prepare yourself for the day, prepare your heart, and just give that day to Him, and just every day ask Him, what do you want of me today? And use the book to build that relationship with Him. So anyway, that is the message for today. I hope you all like that, and let's have a quick word of prayer and we're out of here. Father, I just thank You for a wonderful 2024, and the opportunities You have given me on this channel to be able to talk about Your word, and to maybe introduce You to people who don't know You. And just ask for everybody who is watching this channel today that we all are ready to make that commitment in 2025, if we're not doing it already, to spend that time with You, to know who You are, to know what You want of us, and to live in Your will. And we ask this in Your precious name of Your Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe. Make sure you leave a comment, and we will catch you on the next one.